Listen, think, act, repeat. Welcome to the Left-Wing Kingz podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Trump's divisive rhetoric. Diddy done did it, and losing some of our Gen X era icons. I am your HMIC, your head moderator in charge, Malik, and I'm joined today by King Ace.
What up, what up?
And my queen, Walanda.
What up?
All right, people, let's get it cracking. On Sunday, September 15th, there was a second attempt on former President Donald Trump's life. Trump is now blaming his assassination attempts on the rhetoric of the Democratic Party. While no one deserves to be assassinated for their words, we did uncover a bunch of examples of Trump's rhetoric, which might have contributed to or been the catalyst for these attempts on his life. So let's talk about his rhetoric. All right. Number one, find people. In August 2017, a white nationalist rally in Charlottesville, Virginia turned violent, resulting in the death of counter-protester Heather Heyer. In the aftermath, Trump held a press conference where he was asked to condemn the white supremacists involved. Now, y'all remember what his response was?
Yeah.
What'd he say?
Find people on both sides.
Find
Yeah.
people on both
You
sides.
damn Skippy Ace. Why? Why might some Americans have an issue with Trump calling white supremacists fine people?
I mean, you know, well, they're not fine people. That's first and foremost. You know what I'm saying? The white supremacists, meaning that they feel that the white race is superior to every other race, and that's just bad all in itself. I
Right.
mean, but you know, if you just look, let's just look at the Charlottesville and the circumstance. You had people who came prepared to battle with tiki torches and other type of weaponry, and were running over people and driving cars through crowds and stuff like that. They didn't perform like fine people.
No,
You know what I'm
not
saying?
at all.
That's just looking at if you're looking at the both groups of what they did, just on what they did. So just from that observation, what fine people did he see? You know what I'm saying? We're not even talking about all the allegations and story that came back. I mean, it just showed Trump's true colors early in his term, and let us all know where we stood. I mean, and we can all go back to, back in the 70s and 80s when he was a landlord, how he treated black and brown people, and the Central Park Five. But we can add all that into that. But this particular one, Charlottesville, showed him how he was going to act as president and how he felt about minorities.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely has a perceived normalization of hate groups. Like, why is it so hard to say that or condemn hate? Like, it's really easy to say, like, no, it's not okay to think that the white race is superior. We are all brothers and sisters, again, create some type of unity. But he doesn't do that. He actually has some normalization of, like, hate it's okay.
Yeah.
And it's accepted. Also, there's some historical and moral implications of that. Again, I always say character matters. Like, why would we think it's okay to spread hate and to teach our children if somebody doesn't look like you, it's okay to not like them, to treat them differently, and to treat just being indifferent or being hateful to one another. So, I keep saying it, character, character, character. You can say whatever you want, but character matters, and it drives our decisions and how we act.
Yeah.
I mean, and the country, unfortunately, this country, and I always say this, the KKK, believe it or not, is an established organization in this company. It's been around for hundreds of years. They, and with the doctrine and the rhetoric they preach, the government hasn't did anything to get rid of them. So what does that tell you?
Yeah.
Anything else that was, that they felt was a threat to any of their citizens, for whatever reason, they found a way to get rid of them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not the KKK. It's established. They got chapters in every country. I mean, every state,
Freedom
every
of speech.
city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, freedom of speech, my
Right,
ass. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Like that's why I say they're
Right.
an organization. So that's why Trump normalizes that. You know what I'm saying? It's one, he comes from a country club culture anyway. That's all about class separation. So it's easy for him to separate the races when it comes to do that. I mean, it's not important to him. He doesn't have to deal with it. His life, he's probably around some black people, but he doesn't have to. What he has to do. So he got his depiction and his perceptions of black people. So when other groups start talking about him at white supremacies, he just doesn't relate to that at all. And like you say, he normalizes it, and he almost endorses it with his campaign. Basically, is what happened. And this was the first. Charlottesville was the first time that he did that. He kind of endorsed white supremacists, and fast forward that all to January 6th, we see what happened with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So, I wonder if like some of his thought process on how he addressed that situation went back to some things that people in the Republican Party used to say about Barack Obama, right? Because Obama was president right before Trump. And what did they always used to say about Obama whenever he said something about like a black person getting killed, like in a Trayvon Martin situation or things like that? Whenever, do y'all remember like what Republicans used to say about Obama during those times?
Just that he's being divisive.
Right. They said that he was being divisive by like supporting a black person that got killed by a white person or by a police officer or whatever. And so maybe, not trying to give him an out, but I'm just like, maybe dude was thinking, okay, I don't want to be divisive, so I'm going to say everyone's fine people. Y'all think there's any credibility to that statement?
I mean, he could have did that, but that shows his inability to kind of read the room.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he could have had on to be divisive,
Right.
but no, not in this situation. I'm saying like, you don't go with the white supremacists. You know what I'm saying? That's talking about
White supremacists vote too.
Jews will not replace us. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
they was on one.
Hey, look, white supremacists vote too.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why he does what he does.
First of all, you can't normalize hate groups because it goes against or contradicts the values of equality. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make sense.
We know
though.
Trump
You
ain't all
can't-
about being equal.
Yeah, but that's what we're supposed to be. You got to understand that we're supposed to be talking about the impact on national unity. How do you unify people who don't look like you?
Yeah,
It
he ain't-
sure
he-
is
he ain't
definitely
about-
not shunning one of them and saying that one is inferior to the
Yeah.
other.
Hey, I was just trying to
Right.
throw that dude a bone. My bad.
Yeah, he ain't
I'm
working
just
on
saying.
we ain't working for equality at all.
Well-
Equality ain't never came out of Trump's mouth ever.
Well,
You know
just
what I'm
keep that in mind when you go out there and vote, because we're supposed to be talking about unifying the country and the values of equality and civil rights.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. That's why America is so great.
Trump's
Well-
about the rich getting richer.
We
He ain't
Basically.
about-
Right.
Basically.
Yeah,
He
about
didn't care about them. They were fine people. But if you thought fine people was great, you really going to like this next one. So in January 2018, another one of Trump's off-the-cuff remarks made international headlines. So during a private meeting with lawmakers, Trump reportedly referred to Haiti, El Salvador, and African nations as what?
I'm not saying the word.
well,
S-hole countries.
Yeah,
That's
shithole
right,
country.
shithole countries. So, Wanda, how does Trump's statement impact Haitian Americans, El Salvadoran Americans, African Americans, and other migrant American citizens?
Well, first, just the feeling of devaluation. Can you imagine somewhere where you're trying to be a part of a country now, so they're coming to America, and now I feel like I can't be proud of where I came from because people may see that I'm, again, inferior. People have to understand, too, he compared countries that are predominantly black to countries that are predominantly white, like Norway. So do understand, he wasn't just saying these countries are, S-hole countries. He was looking at the makeup of the country. You got to understand, was people of black and brown or darker skin, and then comparing them of lighter shade countries.
Right.
So it was clear distinction. People are like, well, no, you're just saying these people, the third world, world countries. But I was like, but look at the makeup of the countries and who he compared them to.
Exactly.
And then, of course, there's always the perception of racism. Okay, if you're comparing black to white and using the terms as S-hole versus these are great people and we'll, let them in the country and we don't want you or people who look like you, there's a perception of racism there. It's a clearly distinction.
Yeah, perception, my ass.
Right. I would say clear, but I'm trying to be non-biased here. So, and then just thinking about like the emotional impact that we were thinking about and the cultural instability. I mean, these people are proud of their country, but it's hard to be, be in that light where people are coming from these countries and trying to be now part of the American way, and you got people telling them they're nothing but shit.
Right.
Just not positive, not a way to unify.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play Malik. I'm gonna play head moderator in charge real quick. and be the devil's advocate. I mean, let's be real. Y'all on vacation on a cruise, and they didn't want to stop in Haiti. Let's not like act like Haiti.
There was some shit happening over there.
I mean, let's act like nobody ain't nobody trying to go to Haiti. So I mean, let's be real. Like, I don't want to call it a shithole country, but Haiti ain't. That ain't your destination paradise trip right there. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna get it.
Hey, if you on a cruise ship or you go to the nice part, it's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
But do I want to live there with the natives?
Nah,
I don't know.
We all been in the Caribbean. We know when we drive into the resort and we see them neighborhoods.
Yeah.
We know, oh man, this is crucial for real. So, and we know. I'm just being fair. Haiti ain't the best country in the world. Okay, Ukraine ain't either. Ukraine's getting bombed the fuck up right now.
I ain't going there either.
Exactly, but it's a distinction when he's talking about who's a shithole country and who ain't a shithole country.
Right.
A lot of countries, Gaza ain't good right now. Lebanon definitely ain't good right now. It's a lot of countries that we can start naming like that. Croatia at a point was like that. If you want to talk about Eastern Europe, the point is this: like, I believe that when he said this was the beginning of not also that, but let's start looking at the immigration and start making that hard push. I always said we never talk about immigrants that are coming from Eastern Europe or any place else, from other displaced places that have less melanin. You know what I'm saying? Right. White people. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to these South American countries, Haitian, all these countries, now all of a sudden there's an issue. We have an immigration problem at the southern border. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's and I think this stews off of this language that he says here that kind of enforces the fact that Haitians eat dogs now. You know what I'm saying? Like, they take these immigrants that are darker and they make them into villains. And this is where he started it at.
Right. And just the other thing about just undermining, like you said, immigration and undermining their contributions to the world. I'm sorry, a lot of us can look around and see who you work with. They don't all look like you, and they're not all lighter shades. And they're great leaders and great politicians and great bosses and great managers. So we had to keep that in mind. Again, the distinction was definitely darker melanin versus lighter melanin in that statement.
Yeah, and also, to both of your points, when he's comparing these countries, like you said, lighter and darker, you got Eastern European countries. You also got, like, Russia.
Yeah.
Russia got it bad. They in their situation over there. Don't nobody want to live in Russia neither.
No, anybody living in Russia.
They have sanctions. They have all type of things against them that make lives for Russian people horrible right now. And he ain't saying nothing bad about them. He ain't saying they're a shithole country. As a matter of fact, he loving on some Putin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's loving on some what's the other dude? I think he's
all the oligarchs.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Just loving on them, and they ain't got the best situation over there either. So it's not really about. To your point, you right. There's some fucked up parts of Haiti.
Yeah.
There's some fucked up parts of Russia.
Yeah.
Some fucked up parts in Ukraine. So why ain't you say none of those countries when you talk about shithole countries? And that's
where I'm at with it.
That's some of the things that make people angry at him. He's creating his own divisive rhetoric that is making people, unfortunately, want to take action and horrible actions against him because of the shit that's coming out of his own mouth. He's trying to blame it on other people, trying to blame it on the Democrats, saying things like, if he becomes president, he's going to be a dictator. Well, you said that, bro. I'm just going off of what you said. You know what I'm saying? I'm not making up shit.
Then, I heard him and J.D. Vance saying he's a threat to democracy. Well, hold on. Let me see. If you're saying you're going to be a dictator.
That is a threat.
That's a threat to democracy, bro. Like,
because we're no longer one if you're a dictator.
Yeah, and we fight, and we fight and battle dictators. We take out dictators. That's what America does.
We remember January 6th. Again, if people talk about it more every single day, that's exactly what he tried to do. He was not happy with the results. And what did he do? Stomp his feet and then try to go take over the Capitol or use his people to do so. Excuse me. He didn't directly, but indirectly, he's definitely culpable.
I don't see, like, if you support Trump, how you see that he's going to take over shit and it's going to benefit you. I just don't, like, he's not taking over shit and saying, hey, I take it over, man, you good. He's not doing that shit.
No.
He's saying, when I take over, I'm going to be great. And hopefully what I do may trickle down to you. I don't know. I had no idea. But something's going to happen like that. So that's the mentality when I start thinking about people who just actually support him is like, what is he saying or doing just that's going to make you think that he's going to take care of you once he gets all this power. He's not doing that for that. You know what I'm saying? He's doing it for his own power.
Well, Trump trying to take care of himself, and we trying to take care of ourselves too. So click the damn like button, okay? Click that like button, and also subscribe to Left-Wing Kingz if you want to see more content like this every single week. And make sure that you follow us on social media as well, and share this content to all of your social media platforms. Now, if y'all thought that was good, I think you're going to love this one, especially you, Willanda. I think you're going to love this next one. One of the most notorious Trump quotes came from a leaked Access Hollywood tape in October 2016, just weeks before the election. Yeah, you know you love this one. In the tape, Trump was caught on a hot mic bragging about his ability to sexually assault women because of his fame. Now, what he said was, when you're a star, they let you do it. You could do anything. Grab him by the pussy. Willanda, I've never done that to you. Why do you... Look.
Hey.
Look, and I never would, because that ain't something that a man should do to a woman. But Willanda.
Well,
let's keep
without
moving.
her permission, but damn.
Yeah. With full consent. So, Willanda.
Add that part to it.
Yeah.
Please, you're in trouble.
Yeah, we got to get that right. Willanda, why do some women still support Trump after hearing how he treats them?
I don't know. Women help. I sit up there and contemplated that, and I had to look at some information and really try to understand from a woman perspective. Because again, I'm so about character that it's ridiculous. So I don't understand how you just act like character doesn't matter. But anyways, so policy obviously with some of these women takes precedence over character. That's what I would say. I think their idea of what he speaks to, I guess, and I'm not really sure I can speak to it, but would be his policies. Like when we talk about abortion, I guess if a woman is strongly against abortion, they would follow suit. Economics, maybe about the free market, I guess that takes precedence to her.
Mm-hmm.
I think their religious beliefs sometimes, and not on a take, not that you think he's some type of Christian, because we've already been down that route. But I think they believe in like the forgiveness, like he's a man and we should forgive him. And even though his rhetoric is just horrible, he's still out there to do good and do good by these specific things. I still don't understand what those specific things are. Only one I could really think about it would be abortion, the immigration, and maybe the national threat, or they feel like immigrants are a national threat. Maybe that takes precedence. But again, as a female, I don't know how you ride with this man.
Yeah.
I don't think he respects women. I don't think he cares about women. I don't think he is for women. I think what's on the ballot is freedom for your own reproductive rights. But I guess some of those things may just, I don't speak to them. I don't know. I can't speak for them because I've never been for him, never liked the man before he was even a president, really didn't follow him then, but definitely about the things that he says and does, and me observing how his wife feels about him. That just tells me everything I need to know about this man.
Basically.
The end.
I'll be truthful. I think it's, when it comes to women, it's several Trump supporters. I got good friends of mine that support Trump, and people that I know that are female. So I don't want to say the first. I think there's two types. I think there's one type, and I think there's one woman who's like got low self-esteem. And I think that's one of them. Like, there's a type of woman that, like, for whatever reason, they have low self-esteem and feel for whatever reason men should be running the world or whatever the case may be, and that's the normal pecking order. I mean, I think there's that woman that exists.
Right.
Then I have other people that fall in the category. I think it's, I think a lot of times they're ignoring him, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the case may be, to be different, to come from that side of the argument. I don't know, because the one thing they can't argue that he's a piece of shit when it comes to women.
Yeah.
Like there's no woman that can't say he don't give two shits about women. He never did. Never gave a shit about his wife. You know what I'm saying? Wives.
Past.
His
baby mamas.
He buys hookers. You know what I'm saying? We know he do that.
Right.
He's rolling with Epstein and Diddy. You know what I'm saying? Let's gonna put that on there. You know what I'm saying? Like there's evidence of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere there's been an issue with like sexual abuse, he's been part of it. They got him in that damn suit from the 80s all the way up to here. He's hanging with them people. Whoever's been, Weinstein, whoever went down, he's been with them. You know what I'm saying? So, whereas, birds of a feather flock together. You know what I'm saying? And now on top of that, it's just what he says. Dude went to beauty pageants and made people feel uncomfortable in the back.
Yeah.
He was watching.
These are children.
You know what I'm saying?
He in the dressing room.
Emphasis on children.
Dude made a lewd comment about his daughter on TV. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, so that's why I say with women, it's kind of like I'm gonna ignore that and try to. I'm gonna say most women, if they're conservative, I'm gonna ignore that and I'm gonna focus on the policies. Like they know he's a piece of shit when it comes to women, but they're trying to agree with him because of the
Like I
policies.
said, it has to be the abortion.
You know what I'm saying? But they're trying to stay party true and all of this and that, and they're trying to ignore. They hear the shit like we hear the shit, but they're gonna ignore that. And some of them may be, well, all men are like that. Nah, all men ain't like that. You know what I'm saying? We all got a friend like that. You know what I'm saying? You know who they are, but all of us ain't like that. So some of them, I think it's a self-esteem thing. Hey, you know what? I'm bold with my husband. Men should be running the world. They always have, and and that's sad. But then you have the ones that I think that are educated and knowledgeable and strong women that try to agree with his policies and maybe agree with conservatives and things of that nature and trying to stay party strong. But they're ignoring all the bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's horrible. And then all his policies go against women's rights and things of that nature also. You know what I'm saying? So.
I just think, he's lucky that a woman ain't tried to kill his ass yet, okay? Now, I'm just saying this because there's been assassination attempts, one Republican, one Democrat, both men, both white, Anglo-Saxon male Americans. And he's done more to upset women than any man right now at this point. You know what I'm saying? And like I said before, we don't think that anyone should kill anyone. I don't want the man to die. I don't want him to be killed. But if anyone should be out to get this motherfucker, it should be a female. But the thing about females is, I don't think anybody brought this up yet, that they're just forgiving individuals.
It's not religious place. They're forgiving.
Well, I mean, even regardless of religion, they just forgiving.
I know a couple ain't forgiving.
They're just, there's some that don't forgive you, but there's a lot of them who do.
It's mothering.
They're very forgiving.
Yeah.
They will let. Think about this. How many times you heard about the woman that stayed with the man who beat her up? This is her getting physically touched by this man. Trump ain't physically touched any of these women that's going to vote for them. But some of these women out there probably, unfortunately, in bad situations with men because they just keep on forgiving them and keep on going back to them and things like that. I just think that women have big hearts. And that's the thing that kind of keeps some of these women from just, ignoring some of the shit that he says. And they like the policies, but I talked about that before. Like, there's a bunch of Republicans got the same policies as him.
So why are you aligned?
You don't have
him?
to align with him. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, women are forgiving individuals, and I think that that's one big thing. That even if he says all of the stuff that he said, he's an adjudicated rapist. He says crazy shit. He's hung out with all of these people, and I do want to say, just because he hangs out with them doesn't mean that he did anything. But damn, there's a lot of smoke. So, he got could be some fire there. You know what I'm saying? And he got cases for the same thing. So at the end of the day, women are forgiving creatures. He's just lucky that militia of women ain't came after his ass yet, because he said a lot.
Just think about it. He's not Donald Trump. We just hearing about it. Somebody, you don't know if it's Trump. But if I'm walking to you, I say, hey, man, I got this friend, man. That dude, shoot, man. He just caught a case for raping a woman in the restroom. He was on TV talking about grabbing people by the pussy. And they got him hanging out with Epstein. You're going to be like, who's that piece of shit? You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
I mean, if you don't know the name, like, I'm just telling you, I'm just describing it. You'd be like,
just taking the name off.
Who's this dude raping people in the restroom?
With 3 baby mamas.
You know what I'm saying?
Working on
my dude
you ain't
got
no
3 baby mamas.
That's a lot of baby mamas, but they don't call them that. They're just like his ex-wives. No, they're baby moms, like you call everybody. If he was a black man, they would be dragging him through the dirt.
There's people like him. He's been divorced a lot of times. I don't know how many times.
No, who got NDAs but him?
3
who
or 4?
Puts NDAs on their ex-wives?
Rich people. But I mean, at the end of the day, it don't mean that he's a a horrible guy. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know. I don't like making assumptions. You know me. I just don't like assuming anything. There's a lot of smoke, and I will I will gladly say he's probably, based on the things he said, I do not think that he is for women at all. At all.
No.
So I
he
mean,
would definitely dive in. Okay, NDA, non-disclosure agreement. Nobody needs to put one on unless you don't want people to say certain things.
He's a friend to be
about
sizing
things
people
they
up
have
at
to
church.
say.
That's who he is. You know, your friend to be at church sizing. Oh man, look at that in that skirt, nigga. We in the house of the Lord, fool.
Yeah, he's nasty. Anyways, I also think his cultural identity, like you said with the women, I think it's their cultural identity. Like, my family's Republican, so we vote Republican. And since he has the R at the end of his name, regardless if we all know, if you're a true Republican, he does not stand for Republicans, but he did align himself to your party. So they feel, I got to ride or die. They're very loyal, I want to say in that.
yeah,
Too damn loyal.
yeah. At the end of the day, I mean, I'm perplexed by that, but I'm even more perplexed by the next one that we're going to talk about. During the 2024 presidential debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, Mr. Trump stated that electing Vice President Kamala Harris as president would lead to World War III. Ace, is saying this going to make Kamala Harris the next assassination target?
I mean, anything's possible. I don't believe so. I mean, I'm more inept on him saying she's going to start World War III. I only think World War III is going to come if he wins, and the reason being is because I think he allows Putin to do whatever he wants to. He defunds Ukraine. He takes over Ukraine, and then Russia walks into Poland. And once he does that, they broke a NATO treaty, and we're all at war right now. You know what I'm saying? But to make her an assassination, it's a possibility because there's nuts out there that's going to hear that and think that that's true. But then, you know, like I said, when I broke it down, they don't understand. Like, if she stays in office, we're going to keep funding Ukraine and keep that to front line, so he won't walk into a NATO country where we will be in World War III. That's the important thing when it comes to preventing World War III, is keeping him out of a NATO country, invading a NATO country. And we know if he gets Ukraine, it's evident he's going to walk right into Poland.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, just like they did in World War II.
Yeah.
That's what Hitler did. So,
To me, it's just a big political strategy to exaggerate. Oh, we have this woman, you know, playing on like women. They're not capable of leading. You know, they're going to be in war, undermining her qualifications again. You always keep hearing that she's not qualified. I'm not going to keep going on that route, down that rabbit hole, but we know she's qualified for the job. So I just think it's a political strategy in order to say, hey, fear mongering, it works. We know that. That's what they do. They divide and conquer, you know, be afraid of her because now we're going to have World War, III. She's a woman. She don't know what she's doing. She's not qualified, like she's just going to go act up there and just wreak havoc.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy to me. To me, it's just all about political strategy, fear mongering, and it has worked for him.
Yeah.
That's why we're in this issue with
Exactly.
immigrants now.
Yeah.
Look, it's worked for him, so why would he not continue doing it?
Yeah. I would say that when I think about Trump, he's openly said that saying that he's a threat to democracy is what caused people to try to kill him. So why wouldn't you think that saying you're going to start World War III would not get people to try to kill her? Your justification, that's your justification. That's the same reason why you said people are trying to kill you. So don't you think if the top Republican says she's going to start World War III if we elect her, wouldn't you? Isn't that making her a assassination target? You said that the same type of rhetoric made you one. And then secondly, if he could go out there on January 6th and get hundreds of people to attack the Capitol by saying something, what makes you think he can't get one crazy ass motherfucking loon in his basement somewhere to strap up and go try to kill Kamala Harris because she's going to start war? He said she's going to start World War
Yeah,
III.
no, that's
He
true.
wants us to take her out. So I am
I think
very
that person
concerned
already
about.
exists, man.
Oh,
He
yeah.
does exist. There are probably several of them.
Oh, definitely.
So
We
I'm
saw
very
Capitol.
concerned, especially if that's your justification for people to stop saying things about you. Why would you say that about her?
Trump would do anything to get absolute power. I mean, he doesn't think of the fallout of that. You know what I'm saying? Let's be real. I mean, there's a lot of fires right now that's going on that can lead in World War III. We probably got more threat of that with Hezbollah and Israel right now. You know what I'm saying? Because that thing, as we speak, is starting to get intense and escalate. So, and I like how he likes to say, man, when I was in office, we didn't have these problems. Because he was in office, he was letting people do what the hell they wanted to do. They were setting themselves up to do what they did right now. You know what I'm saying? Like
getting troops ready.
Right.
When you took the sanction stuff off of Russia, that put him in position to start doing this. And when you got out of office, he went on ahead and invaded Ukraine.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So, it's all lies and fabrications that come from things that he's done. You know, in the World War III. That, like I said, once again, I think that we're more likely going to go there because the people that are now in power, the dictators, Putin, China, North Korea, if he's in office, they're going to do what the hell they want to. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to put us at war. But the thing is, with him, who we going to be fighting with? You know what I'm saying? Him, or who we going to be supplying? Or we going to step back and let them just do what they need to do and tear up the world? Well, we did that before. And 2 times. We did that World War I and World War II. And it didn't work out good either way. A lot of people died.
Yeah. And speaking of dictators, I think this next topic fits in perfectly with that. So in December 2023, Trump was asked under no circumstances, you are promising America tonight you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody? Trump's response, except for day one. So, Walanda, why should statements like this concern American citizens?
Well, so we know the abuse of power, threat to the rule of law, okay? The rule of law is a fundamental principle of democracy, ensuring that laws apply equally to all individuals, regardless of their status or position. So what that means is the president can come in here and just wreck shop and do whatever he wants. That's abuse of executive power. That is the point of democracy, right?
Yeah.
So you're eroding democratic norms by just that very statement in itself. So if a leader views power as a tool for personal revenge, it can obviously weaken the democratic process, right? So now you just start targeting people you don't like, you know? I said, what are we living in? You know, his words mean something. His words have power. They hold. So again, just thinking about the erosion of democratic norms and abuse of executive power, you know, that's where we're going if you vote for this man. Scary.
Yeah.
Have you noticed, it's funny, he didn't say I want to be a dictator. He says I want to be a dictator day one.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think what some of these, I hate to say it. Well, I don't hate to say it because y'all are. These idiots, they're taking it. He's saying I'm going to be a dictator one day. He's not saying one day. He's saying day one.
Right.
Which means he plans on being a dictator afterwards. But he's saying, hey, man, one day I'm going to be a dictator, but after that, we're going to go back to normal. That's what people are trying to think that he's saying. He's saying day one, the day I get in there, because usually day one when people become president, you know, January 21st or whatever, they start passing all these executive orders. So all these executive orders are going to set up to make him a dictator. All these executive orders is going to put Project 2025 into play.
Yeah.
That's basically what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, once again, it's just hard for me to understand how, one, if you're an undecided voter, I don't know which way I'm going to go. What do you mean which way you going to go?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna just give a caveat to that. He said except for day one. So that to me means just day one. That's the only day that he's gonna be a dictator. And what he said was, I think just to add to it, just all the Republicans out there, you know, don't get angry. Cause like y'all be getting angry. He said he's gonna be drilling for oil and doing something else too, like crazy on day one. And then like, I don't know how you just gonna do all of that for one day, but he did say except for day one. He didn't say from day one. He didn't say starting at day one. He said except for day one, which means that's the only day he's gonna be a dictator. And the way that I think about it, I don't know.
I don't know. What do you believe? Think about it. What do you believe?
What I believe is different than what he said.
Yeah, no.
I believe that if he became a dictator, he would be a dictator for as long as possible.
He's trying to be a dictator now.
Now, the power is meant to serve the people. We are the people. We do know that, right? Like, we the people. He is supposed to serve us. He's supposed to be a servant leader, meaning you lead to serve us, not to punish your opponents. And that's what he is saying, and that's all he's speaking about.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the Republican Party, and this is the issue, because he, on paper controls half of half of the population when it comes to voting. They just let this guy do whatever he wants and run the party, and that's basically where it is. So he's already he's a dictator in the Republican Party.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he
He's
done
already
took it
doing
over.
that. I mean,
That's the MAGA, right? That's why they call it
the
MAGA
whole
versus-
Republican Party. I mean, he calls up the Congress and tells them, "Hey, don't pass that vote because I need to run on that in the election."
And that's what they did.
No, the whole time we hear them singing about immigration, they came up with a bipartisan bill. Hell, we let the Republicans write it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he because that was going to be something that he couldn't run on, and he wouldn't have anything. He said, "Hey, man, change that," and they did.
Yeah.
So he's a dictator right now in that party. So what makes you think when he's able to do the whole country, he's going to say, "Hey, you know what? I'm through day one. Let's go back to."
Let's go back to serving the people. No, he serves
He
himself.
don't give a fuck about the people. He never
No,
did.
never did.
Yeah. Well, speaking of doing whatever he wants and running parties, let's talk about P. Diddy.
You stupid.
Speaking about parties and shit.
Speaking about doing whatever he wants with oils and things and running
Right.
parties, let's talk
Freak
about
off.
the freak off king,
Yeah, freak off parties.
P. Diddy.
Talking about parties.
P. Delicious. So, on September 16th, oh my God, I need to start over.
He said,
On
"P
September
delicious."
16th, 2024, Sean P. Diddy Combs was arrested in New York City after a grand jury voted to indict him on charges of racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. So there was a lot of activity that led up to this arrest. So, we're going to go ahead and settle in on 5 key moments that led to this indictment, just in case y'all been left out of the loop
5
this whole
nasty
time.
moments of P. Diddy and shit.
5 crazy, nasty moments of your boy. So,
The nasty one.
yeah, moment number 1 was the courage of Cassie. On November 16, 2023, R&B singer Cassie filed a lawsuit against Diddy, accusing him of years of abuse, including beatings and rape. Cassie detailed how Diddy subjected her to savage beatings, forced her to take drugs, and coerced her into having sex with other men. A day later, Diddy settled that lawsuit. So, Ace,
Hey, letter.
how did this lawsuit and settlement change public perception of Diddy?
We was here doing the show. Remember when because we was here. He said that we was like, man, that was fast. It was like, we was like talking about it, and then came out and like he settled. It was
Yep.
like, what the hell? Man, hit me with the question one more time.
Yeah, so how did this lawsuit and the settlement change public perception of Diddy?
I mean, it's public perception. It turned him into a villain. You know what I'm saying? It had to. Now, like I said, I think that anybody who kind of followed things always knew. Hey, looked at Diddy. It was like something ain't right about that dude. You know what I'm saying? Like something rubbed you wrong about it. You know what I'm saying? Like you didn't have all the proof, but just his whole little demeanor was a little crazy. Now, I was talking about this a couple of days ago, and I was bringing it up. I said the sad part about the whole thing. I remember when it came out. Everybody was like against Cassie. I don't know if you remember that. They were like, she's trying to get money and this and that. I remember that was like that was the word out in the streets. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden he paid her, and it was like, oh, what the hell's going on? Then that tape came out. Like, damn.
But we're gonna talk about that tape later.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's just that, yeah. I mean, it's just it made you, because I think it was some things already brewing kind of about Puffy. It was kind of like urban legend type shit, and so this kind of came out. We're like, okay, it started to, it's Bill Cosby-ish now. You know what I'm saying? Like we keep hearing it, and these things about him. Then all this evidence started coming up, and then she came out with a lawsuit, and I think that kind of said, all right, it just put him in a bad light with the public.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely reputation damage. So people are definitely looking at Diddy's character or lack thereof.
Yeah.
Of course, questions about accountability. Did you buy her silence? You know what I mean? Like sometimes when you involve some monetary, right, retributions, it just shows that you are admitting to,
Yep.
indirectly that you did some wrongdoings. Impact on his business ventures. I think about like Mary J.
Yes.
Blige and people who love Diddy. They've been awfully silent. You notice the people he's been around with, the people he has
Because they
actually
know
helped grow
what they
their
know what
career.
y'all about.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, what did you see? What did you know? So obviously, it's going to have some type of impact on his business ventures and then his long-term legacy. He's built a lot, quite a few, and I won't go through the list, but a lot of these stars actually got their rise and fame through Diddy. So I think it impacts his long-term legacy. And last, how does he respond?
Yeah.
What is he saying? What is he doing besides giving people money? He ain't saying too much. Just saying, I didn't do it, but then I'm, shelling out lots of money to make sure he ensures that silence. So
Yeah, after this happened, I mean, like we said already, I mean, the public was first saying, bad things about Cassie. And we talked about how we as a country and maybe even as a world, like, treat women wrong anyway. Like, treat them like liars. Think about Anita Hill and all of these different people that, blew whistles on people and then got treated like trash. And Cassie was in that boat for one day. But the next day, retribution like a motherfucker. As soon as he was like, nah, here's this money. You can have this. And to your point about, like, business ventures and how it impacted it, he had to step down from Revolt. And then I think there was something else, too, that he stepped down from. I can't remember what it was. But they were like, nah, nigga, you can't be involved with us because, like, you impacting our insurance and liability insurance and things like that. So he had to step down from those companies. So, I mean, impacted him in a big way. I mean, and the public perception of him changed like right after that settlement came through. Like it went from you're accusing him of something to you a nasty dude that beats on women and rapes them.
right.
You know what I'm saying? In one day. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
You know, and it's funny, we were talking about Trump earlier, and I was talking about P. Diddy, and the similarities, they're kind of like that misogynistic guy. You know what I'm saying? Like both of them powerful, both of them got money, but I want to take it to another level. You know what I'm saying? And I think that with the whole thing with Diddy is kind of like, like why and what are you doing, and why all these years are you just being a fucking prick to people? You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Because you can be. You know what I'm saying? And I was catching up to you. Because that's basically what it comes down to. I got money. I'm going to make you do some shit you don't want to do. And I'm going to watch it and record it or do some whatever fucked up thing he was going to do with it. And then now it's catching up to him. Because outside of that, outside of other than his own pleasure, what was the reason for him doing any of those things?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why it's always important. Like when you said that, I always go back to the character thing. Your character drives your decisions. It doesn't matter how much money you got. I'm still the same person, even though I got more money than I did have before. I can guarantee you that. You know what I mean? I don't treat people differently because of my financial situation. And that's what some men and some women, do. But I do see it more with the men. They get a lot of money, then they get empowered, and then I don't know, some of them just lose their minds. But it always goes back to their character in the first place.
I think that the money allows them to act on their I guess inhibitions that they always wanted to do it in the first place.
Just weren't
It was
able.
always who they were. They just didn't have the money to do
Exactly.
it. So
Exactly.
I mean, if that's something that you find upsetting, you really gonna find this next one upsetting. So I call it P stands for pedophile.
Well,
So in November and December of 2023, two women in separate lawsuits accused Diddy of sexual abuse, beatings, rape, and forced drugging in the early 1990s. Now, the women were 16 and 17 at the time of these alleged assaults.
to children.
Walanda, people hate pedophiles. Why weren't these lawsuits the thing that nailed Diddy's coffin?
Well, first of all, victims a lot of time delay reporting, right? And why do women delay reporting? Because of things like this. Nobody believes the woman. Just to take some of that, I will say this. As women, we were taught, you get with the man, he's going to take care of you. Stop teaching these young ladies that, like, let them get their own bag, and then they can match bags. You know what I'm saying? I got mine, he got mine, and we together we're a powerful couple. So people automatically believe that women are out there trying to get something. So a lot of times they delay reporting because they're afraid, they're embarrassed, they're ashamed, and they're scared, and nobody believes them.
Yeah.
So a lot of times they're telling the truth, and then it happens. So if criminal charges didn't come up during that time, guess what? It just gets swept under the rug. And that's what happens with Diddy and a lot of these men in regards to that. So if there's no criminal prosecution, it's difficult.
Yeah.
But again, because a lot of times it's delayed because they don't say anything. Then they grow into themselves and become women, and they feel empowered. And then they start speaking, and then it looks like you've been lying the whole time.
Yeah.
But a lot of times they're just afraid to say because they're ashamed and they're scared of how people are going to treat them. Because a lot of times, look at us. They believe the man and don't believe the women.
Yep.
What year was that?
19. It was.
What year did it happen?
Yeah.
So the year that he was with the two girls was the 1990s, in the early 90s. And the lawsuit, they brought up their lawsuits November and December of last year is when they sued him.
Because they're women now.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they've
But-
had
but-
time to process.
Okay. Once again, playing devil's advocate because I'm nowhere near defending Puffy P. Diddy Combs. You know what I'm saying? But in the early 90s, well, he was in his 20s. So we're saying that it's not like we're looking at him now and it's somebody 16 or 17, like in his early 20s. Not saying that that's right, but he was
Right.
closer to their age at that time.
Man,
Huh?
you going down the wrong path right now.
No, I'm not going down the
It's
wrong.
dangerous water.
No, I'm not going down the wrong path. I'm not going
He's
down the wrong.
saying his age was
I'm not
close.
going.
He
I'm
wasn't
not
a
going down the
40-year-old
wrong
man
path.
with
But
a
I mean,
16-year-old. I understand what
let's
you're
put it
saying.
in perception.
He's
Early
saying age.
90s, bad boy entertainment. They probably had some kind of party.
Would you have been with a 16 or
Well,
17
no,
year old?
let me paint the
in
picture.
early
Let me paint the
90s?
picture. Let me paint the picture though.
Okay,
What I'm
go
saying.
ahead.
Early 90s, bad boy party. Girls snuck in, maybe. Baby girls lied about their age, and maybe
They
he
did.
got with them. That's all I'm saying. I'm just playing advocate. You know what I'm saying? Because
Okay,
of the
I
time
hear you.
period that maybe they snuck
That's
in.
fair.
He didn't know they was underage because they
Right,
lied
right,
to
right.
get into the party or whatever.
Okay.
And I just wanted to paint the picture that he's in his
Okay.
20s.
Early
But
20s.
you know, like
You
I
might have
said,
should have started off with that part.
exactly.
He was not.
Okay, but I was trying to get there.
I was
See,
scared.
No, you kept throwing the curveball and shit.
I heard you.
You see, I
Yeah.
was addressing Walanda. I didn't want her to.
I was scared, nigga.
I
I'm
didn't
like,
want Walanda to have a problem.
I heard
Like,
where he was
hey.
going.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Ace is suspect,
Hey,
nigga.
I was still trying. Hey, I was still want to be invited to the party, so
Yeah.
nigga, I turned directly to your
Tell you what.
wife to make sure she understood. Nigga,
I
like,
understood this. Like,
nigga, hey,
Oh, shit.
don't invite that nigga.
Okay, your point makes sense.
Okay, but the thing is, what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
also, nigga, now we in 2024, you still got the same damn problem, nigga. Like, so it shows the history of
Right.
everything that you did. You know what I'm saying? Like, 90s was a wild time, man. There's a lot of things that probably happened in the 90s need to stay there. But nigga, like, yo, now they probably send them like, yo, when I was 16, and I'm not saying that the women weren't taking advantage of. Maybe they probably were. Maybe he did know they were 16. I don't know.
right.
And now they're saying it.
Right.
But just wanted to kind of paint the pictures that it was earlier and it was probably crazy. But look at where he's at now. Like,
Yeah.
But he's
No.
still doing crazy.
still doing
shit.
crazy.
That's
yeah.
that's the problem.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so something that's not crazy is the like button. So why don't y'all click on that, you know, if you like this content. And also make sure that you subscribe to Left-Wing Kingz to see more content like this every week. And make sure that you share this content on your social media platforms. So the next moment from P. Diddy that led up to his current indictment was his homeboy Lil Rod.
oh,
On February 26, 2024, Rodney Lil Rod Jones, a former videographer and music producer for Combs, accused Combs in a federal lawsuit of racketeering, sexual assault, sex trafficking, and grooming.
Jesus.
Walanda, why is there a trend in the entertainment industry of individuals using their power and influence to commit sexual assault?
I would say the power imbalance, right? So they're scared of trying to elevate their careers, and now this man has their careers in their hands. So if you don't do what I say, guess what? You're gonna disappear, like literally from the limelight. So I want to say a lot of that's the power imbalance on that celebrity privilege that he has. Everybody knows P. Diddy. His name is out there.
Yeah.
You know, they're scared. You know, they're trying to come into this or break into the career, and we all know, you hear things about, you know, some of the celebrities, and they feel I got to do what they say or my career is not going to take off. And a lot of times they don't. I notice if they don't do what they say, you're hearing these stories now. Like, if I didn't do A, B, and C, I wouldn't be here. And just again, what are you willing to sell your soul to?
Damn. And you know, I think every year, like at my day job, we go to HR and we take a little video. Ain't that called quid pro quo or whatever?
Quid pro quo. Yep. You got it.
Jesus. you know, I mean, you know, I guess that's the confusing part for me. And, you know, not taking anything from anybody who's, you know, gay or homosexual. My thing is like, what, I mean, are you homosexual? Like, Kevin Spacey got put down, but he was homosexual, and he was sexually harassing people who were
Young boys.
homosexual.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? You get that. He was homosexual. Whatever. I don't, is Diddy homosexual, or is it, what's the situation with like the sexual thing on him? And if he's not, are you just like, what are you doing it for? And that's just where it gets confusing to me. Like, it's one thing if he was homosexual and okay, he's sexual harassing other men, I get it. But then he's got women, he's got little girls. Like, you just fucking anything, nigga? Like, I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, that's that predatory behavior as a norm. So sometimes they're just sexual deviants. Like you said, I don't know if it's like a sexuality thing versus an empowering thing. Like, I'm making you do this because I can. You know, like, I'm just driven by that. It's like sexual deviant behavior. I don't know if it has anything to do with their sexuality.
yeah,
Which
exactly.
is a strange thing.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. So I mean, and then so it's that they got the guy in Detroit. They just did a recent a case against him. It's all these people coming out, and it's just like he was just all over the place with it. Like, you know, and like I said, that's where it kind of gets a little weird to me. Like, all right, you got guys doing it, you got girls, and you was just up there just running a whole nasty factory, and whatever happened. You know, baby oil, 784 dildos. There's just all kinds of shit going on. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, it's crazy. But I mean, that speaking of oils and dildos, that was what was found in the raid, and that's what we need to talk about next. So, on March 26, 2024, heavily armed teams of Homeland Security, federal agents in armored vehicles and tactical gear raided P. Diddy's homes in L.A. and Miami. So, Ace, what's the significance of Homeland Security agents doing this raid?
I love you asked me that question. When I sat and thought about it, when I first heard it, I was like, Homeland Security? I mean, them dudes go after terrorists. You know what I'm saying? Like, they do internet. They Homeland. They trying to protect all America.
Yeah.
So what the hell your nastiness got to do with that? You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't that an FBI job? You just nasty. FBI come swoop you up, maybe, or maybe even the local police. But nigga, Homeland Security?
Yeah.
Like, I guess if we had award ceremonies for crooks, like, nigga, like you know, you up there, like you got Homeland Security on you, like I don't know nobody that did that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But getting back to the fact, that means what he's doing is some kind of threat to the country, to where it may be a foreign entity or something involved that's going to threaten our security here as Homeland, which probably comes into the sex trafficking charges.
Right.
Correct.
Which means probably he was sex trafficking people overseas or whatnot. No matter. We don't know what he probably brought into the country is probably what they're saying, and that's why they got involved. Homeland Security, believe it or not, it was set up, you know, around when the towers came down. That's when it came down. But the number one thing Homeland Security did, because when the towers went down, the agencies didn't talk to each other. So Homeland Security's primary job is to make sure that all the federal agencies are on one page. So it may be the simple fact that what he does goes across the board of a lot of places, like goes to TABC, the people that the firearms people.
ATF.
I mean ATF. That's what I meant. I said TABC. That's alcohol. ATF. It goes across FBI. You know what I'm saying? So Homeland Security might be there to orchestrate that, and plus, like I said, he may have some international ties. He may have some DEA charges. So they were always set up to where, all right, when you are crossing more than one thing, we need to all be on the same page to do that. So that's the significance of them being there. And they hit him at once, both places. So I was telling people when the charges came down this week, I said, you got to understand something. A lot of people don't understand. You used to Law and Order. Well, they charge, the next thing you know,
Yeah.
well, they cutting that show short. Don't usually work like that. They, once they get the information, the government's gonna sit there and they're gonna pile all the information you got. And when they got everything they need,
Then
they're gonna get a grand jury indictment, which means they looked at it and said, all right, we got charges on them. And then next thing you know, you're there. But they already got all the evidence and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So, and then when they do it like 6 months, 8 months, like we saw you here 6 months ago, and now 6 months now they putting charges against you. Yeah, man, they got a tight lock case on you, man. They got a lot of
Yeah.
stuff on you. So definitely.
yes, that like you said, if it's a serious allegation, if you're the Department of Homeland and Security investigating you, so it says they investigate the involvement of the federal offense has to be dealing with, like you said, human trafficking, money laundering, or terrorism. So it's one of those three, or maybe a combination of so. So when they came out there after him, so I was like, wow. So the potential involvement obviously is the human trafficking. I think that's what they're focusing on. To me, that is still terrorism against women. Okay, if you're sitting here taking these young children, or even young women, or even grown women at that moment in time, and selling them
men
and
can
use
human
them,
traffic too,
and
man.
human right, that is true. I said, to me, that is terroristic. So that's why I believe that DHS is involved. And like you said, in order for you to get that department to be like, ooh, we need to check you out, there's some serious things going on. So they've already been watching him for a minute.
Yeah.
And it just now all came out. You know what I mean? Like, this is not like overnight, oh, we have some type of allegations going on. They've been looking at him.
Yeah, they may have some evidence to where somebody was grabbed from somewhere overseas
Internationally, right.
and brought over here against their power, man, and that's crazy. Or vice versa, somebody here was taken somewhere.
Yep.
And they were underage or whatever. Like it gets serious.
Yeah.
And they also do weapons or drug trafficking too, but it has to be large amounts. It's not like, people selling dime bags of weed or anything,
Right.
but
Well,
but heavy trafficking.
That's why they
internationally.
ran in there, and they ran in there in full tactical gear.
Yes.
Because this cat's sitting in there with AKs, so they didn't know what the hell they was gonna run into.
Right.
Yeah.
Because people was like, why they rolling up in there with the, they got the
They've been watching.
Armored vehicles.
armored
and all kind of
vehicles
shit.
and-
yeah.
They knew.
and they were running out in SEAL Team 6 formations and shit.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Yep.
Serious, man.
Well, that the whole thing was caught on video. I mean, we watched the whole raid,
Yeah.
and then we saw another video.
Uh-oh.
And this video was a nail in this motherfucker's coffin right here. On May 17th, 2024, hotel video surveillance showing Combs brutally beating Cassie was made public. The video goes on to show Combs dragging Cassie Ventura on the floor and throwing an object at her. Wanda, how did that video bring Mr. Combs down?
Well, it creates that disturbing narrative that he obviously has a problem abusing women. And it wasn't just the abuse. I think it was the perversion, like the sexual perversion of it. Like, they were talking about things that he made her do, drugged her, and just, I'm not going to get into the descriptive part of it because it's really sickening, So I think it's the perversion of it, the sexual trafficking, holding her against her own will, and then just the violence of it. Like, you got to witness that firsthand. It's not like something we're making up. You can watch the video over and over again of what happened to her. So
Yeah.
it definitely shined a light on his behavior.
Yep.
At that point, everything was an allegation. You know, now we see you a monster.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We see what you do. You know what I'm saying? We see how you get down. So now all the allegations now in the
It's
court of public
facts.
eye now it's like, oh no, that's you, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you beat women, dog. You know what I'm saying? You drag them down the hallway with a towel on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, who does that? You know what I'm saying? Like, and you're P. Diddy. It's funny. I think our last show we had, because we were talking about, can you really truly, like, because, some people don't listen to R. Kelly no more. But P. Diddy, we were so much liking P. Diddy, it's like, you can't even not listen to his music. I mean, that's how deeply involved, because if you start saying, well, I'm not going to listen to this, well, they're going to Mary J. Blige. You know what I'm saying? There go Biggie. You know what I'm saying? Like,
There go Usher.
There go Usher. You know what I'm saying? There go this song, because he's so much embedded.
Yeah.
So even though he's a flawed character, P. Diddy was also somebody that we liked him. We had nothing against him. So definitely when he even came out there, like, there was more people probably rooting for him than against him, But then when he came out and he put hands on him, we got it, and saw the way he was treating that girl. It's like, all right, you a monster, man. Now as all these people are coming out, bro, that's believable. Then you see your son, and he a little monster.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
What's sad is that people still have to try to defend him. Like he has a lawyer. Like
Yeah.
and like you said, we all saw the evidence. This man beat this woman, and that's just one instance.
Incident.
That's one
Right.
incident.
That's it. It's one
That we
instance
know.
of him beating her in a hallway in a hotel. You gonna do that in a hotel, a
would
public
say-
place?
Yeah,
With cameras that you don't own.
if you that confident,
Yeah, they everywhere. This is what you used to do.
imagine
This
what you
is a
doing
norm
when
for
ain't
you.
nobody looking.
Exactly. This is a norm. This is your normal behavior because you can't control yourself from you don't stop yourself from doing things that you feel are okay and they're normal in a public place.
Yeah,
Like that silly shit that I do with my wife, I don't do in public. I just act silly sometimes to do shit. I don't do that shit in public because that's just me and her in our own damn public private
Yeah.
place. This nigga did that in a public place where there are cameras that he
nothing
has
wrong.
no control over. Okay, put that in the perspective of what his behavior is, and then his lawyer has to defend that behavior. And the reason why I bring that up is his lawyer was on CNN.
yeah.
He said
Deflect. Yeah.
he deflected a lot.
He def-
But one of the things that he said was, well, you have to keep in mind that bag that she had, it had his clothes in it. And she took his clothes, and that's why he was out there in a towel, because she took his clothes.
So you
I
kicked
said
him
the
ass
brother
out,
couldn't just grab his bag and go back in the fucking hotel room and say, fuck you, bitch.
Yeah.
He had to do all of that extra shit. I mean, you're trying to justify
I don't believe that.
kicking, throwing shit at her, all of this shit because, well, she took his clothes.
He grabbed her and dragged her back.
I don't believe that.
Like if you
I
mad
think-
at
I
her,
think
why
she
you
was
just give
trying-
her there?
I think she was trying to
Let
get
her
the
go.
hell out of there.
She was.
That's what it looked like. She grabbed her shit and was trying to get the hell out of here.
So I gotta go.
I'm just saying it's sad that somebody has
Yeah.
to try to defend
Defend
that
that.
behavior.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And he knew it was indefensible.
And you know what? I thought about it. You talk about confidence. Like, think about what would pull you out of a hotel room in your towel. Like, what has to happen, for you to go out and do some shit in your towel? Like, I'm gonna run out of my towel. Like, I gotta
But I
handle
don't
this
even
right
care.
now.
Yeah, it's
know what I'm
that
saying?
important.
Like, that's how controlling he was with her. He
Right.
couldn't even let her leave without running out half naked in this
Right.
towel, and then getting into it, and then beating her ass
Mm-hmm.
while holding the fucking towel because it was coming off and shit. So you know what I'm saying? So it's just
Yeah.
like, it's like, nah, man. Like, there's nothing in that looks like, like you say, it's hard to defend. Like, there's nothing in that whole situation
Nothing.
That made sense.
that you can even defend. Like,
I
dog.
can see him running out there because he had no clothes to put on, but you don't gotta whoop her ass.
Yeah.
He got money. You can call somebody, Doug, bring me some
That's what I'm
clothes.
saying.
Great
No,
point.
exactly. Like,
Homeboy, bring me some clothes. I
Great
ain't got no
point.
clothes. Here I am in the hotel. Can you bring me a shirt? And Stop it. You got
Exactly.
grown
Great-
kids.
great
Bring me
point.
some clothes.
you can go.
You went
to
out
the-
there trying
you
to get
can- hey,
clothes.
you can call them and tell them to bring you something from the gift shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
you can
stop
call the
playing.
hotel and say, hey,
Yeah.
I need
Some
some
shorts
clothes.
and a shirt.
Yeah,
It's
you
high
right.
as fuck.
Great point.
But nigga, like, you didn't have to
But
run
that's
out
his
there.
lawyer's
He
excuse,
got money.
nigga.
Like, nah,
Not
come
mine.
on, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't think she took time to pack up his clothes. Like, it looked like she just
He
grabbed
don't
whatever
want,
little
she didn't
shit
want
she
his
had.
stuff.
Some people live out their bag in the hotel. You
She
mean-
did
And
not
think
want
about it
his
like
stuff.
this. I'm trying to paint the picture. I wasn't there. But he was probably in the shower. She's like, fuck it, I'm going to go.
Yeah,
He
I'ma
heard
leave while
that
this
door
nigga in the shower.
open,
Open and came out.
and he ran out and grabbed the towel.
Yeah.
Like, he heard the door fucking open and did
Yeah.
it. She probably was waiting. He went in the shower and she took off, and that's when she did that. And he did that shit.
Yeah.
You think she packed up that nigga's clothes at that
No,
time?
he
and
don't
shit?
want his stuff.
No. I think he probably had a bag already packed
Well,
like
she
that. But
fucked up.
anyway.
I'm there where she fucked up. I want to grab shit and hit that stairway on his ass. That's what I.
Or, I mean, and here's the other thing. If, I don't know, like, we trying to paint hypotheticals here, but, nigga, if I'm sneaking out the door, I'm closing that motherfucker slow as fuck. You ain't gonna hear this door close, nigga. I'm gonna be moving slow as hell. Get the fuck out of here. Especially from a damn predator and a goddamn pedophile and a woman beater. But anyway.
Right.
that's
I'm
what-
interested to see
digress.
what Jennifer Lopez says. Oh, I've been waiting, but she's been so quiet.
ain't
She's
gonna
not
say shit.
saying nothing.
She ain't saying shit.
And said anything.
You know, because that
She
was
probably was part of the whole get down. I don't know.
oh, that was years ago. That's behind her. She,
Yeah.
she ain't gonna.
I'm just intrigued. by her
probably
The
don't-
main thing about this whole thing is that when you bring up like Homeland Security, human trafficking, and things that might be bigger than what they say, two things. I don't like that people try to make a connection like anybody that hung out with him is nasty too. I don't think that's true. You got to give everybody else their own day in
That's
court.
true.
It's fucked up that they trying to say
Yeah.
that about everybody who was associated with this
No.
dude. That's
Yeah.
fucked off.
We got some bad
But-
friends.
They are also trying to say that
Yeah.
they might be looking at Diddy to try to flip on somebody bigger than him,
Huh.
who might be like involved in all of this. And that's another thing, like with the Homeland Security thing. Like there might be somebody,
intriguing.
another bigger person involved that they're trying to get him to flip on. So I don't know if that's true or not, but just throwing it out there before we move on to the next topic, because I know I'm trying to speed this up for my wife so she can get out of here. But with that being said, I want to talk about our last topic for the day. Our last topic is more of a celebration. We kind of had an opportunity to kind of talk about some crazy shit with one of our icons, with, like you said, with Diddy, because we look back on some of the things that he's did, and we've all were very appreciative of the things that he's done. But now he's been tarnished, and for good reason. But there are others, icons who were icons to us in the Gen X era that we want to celebrate today. So on September 2024, September 2024 has been a crazy month for Black culture. We've lost a lot of people from our entertainers.
A lot of people important to the culture.
Yeah, right? A lot of people important to the culture from our childhood, and it made us realize that we should be celebrating some of them, and maybe we should be celebrating them more when they're here, but we want to talk about their legacies. So we're going to take a moment to give back some flowers to those individuals who left their mark on pop culture during Gen X era. So first one we're going to talk about is Carl Weathers, a.k.a. Apollo Creed.
Or Action Jackson.
Yes, sir. On February 2nd, 2024, we lost one of the most recognized talents in film, Carl Weathers. Although he played many roles in his career, most people know him for playing the charismatic, flamboyant, and formidable Apollo Creed in the Rocky series. So Apollo was just a character. Apollo wasn't just a character. He was a cultural phenomenon. Wanda, how did Carl Weathers use Apollo Creed to defy racial stereotypes and expectations?
Well, he went beyond the stereotypes. That was good. He was a Black athlete, so he had a complex characterization of himself. So you saw an articulate, a wealthy, a successful, charismatic, intelligent, and shrewd individual. And you didn't see that in the sports at that time, I want to say, of a Black man. It was in a white sport. So, and he was dominating. So I definitely want to say that. So you saw that, like that mentorship. And yes, we had the black and white kind of dynamic there, but he showed, he didn't have to be the thug. Right. I'm the mentor. I'm who you want to be, so it just shed some great light on the Black man.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of great things about Carl Weathers, man. One of my favorite actors. And Apollo Creed, we'll talk towards that a little bit. Apollo Creed, I mean, all the things that you said on it, man. But, I mean, I think when the Rocky movies came out, there's no Rocky without Apollo Creed. You know what I'm saying? Like, he really did a magnificent role on that. And like you said, from my aspect, especially back then when there wasn't a lot of Black represented in movies, man, he really stood out and made us proud that he did that role. But the Apollo Creed role and all the Rockies, even all the way up to the one that he died. I think it was Rocky 3 is when he passed away. Because Rocky 2 he came back.
Yeah, and Rocky 3
and because he beat him in he beat Rocky in the first one, and then Rocky won in the second one, but made that whole timeline to the point now his legacy is ran through Creed with Michael B. Jordan now. You know what I'm saying? And it's keeping the Rocky thing going. So big contribution there. A role that he did that a lot of people probably forget about is Chubbs in Happy Gilmore. I don't remember that one. That was a funny role and a good role that he did. I just want to bring up something that people probably don't remember. And then one of my favorites is in the Mandalorian. That he did, you know what I'm saying? So big time dude with a long career, did a lot of great things, acting, and like I said, man, just a big loss for us this past month.
Yeah, he was a huge loss, man. And before we move on to the next person, I do want to bring up two things that I admired about Apollo Creed. And the first one is you have to think about the context of the movie Rocky. It was like the great white hope versus the Black guy. And not to say like this is just one of the things that America is kind of like always loved, having that great white hope, like Larry Bird and whatever. You got a white guy that can excel in something that Black people excel at, they're looking forward to seeing that next great white person to take over. And not to say that Sylvester Stallone was trying to do anything negative with it, because I don't think he was. No, but it's just a story that resonates with people. And he was basically the bad guy. Yeah. But to your point, Walanda, articulate, flamboyant,
Yeah.
smart,
Charismatic.
charismatic, all of those things. He was like the personification of Muhammad Ali on film.
Yeah.
Right.
He was like Ali, except he was even more like, I don't even know if you can say more flamboyant, but you know what I'm saying? That's who he was to us at that time. He was like, oh shit, this dude is like a Muhammad Ali, but you know what I'm saying? Like, cause Muhammad Ali, smart, strong-willed, stood on his convictions, you know, things like that. And that's what he was to me when I think about that. And then when you brought up Creed, the crazy thing about Apollo, like they stopped doing Rocky movies. They doing Creed movies though.
Yeah.
And Michael B. Jordan is now taking on the reins, and he is addressing some of the issues and struggles that are happening in our contemporary times through the Creed movies. You know what I'm saying? And also paying homage to Apollo Creed at the same time, showing how he is taking on the torch and leading the way as an actor and also as Creed in those movies. So great stuff from there. I mean, Apollo Creed is a character that's going to live on forever, man. So the second person that we want to celebrate is James Earl Jones. On September 9th, 2024, we lost one of the most respected thespians of all times, James Earl Jones. He commanded the stage, silver screen, and television in any role that he played, but it was his role as Darth Vader in the original Star Wars trilogy that truly cemented his place in pop culture. Ace, as a member of the Gen X era and a lover of Star Wars, what does the loss of the voice of Vader mean to you and to the rest of the Star Wars universe?
I mean, yeah, that's big. I mean, come on, Darth Vader. You know what I'm saying? Like that's iconic, and we all know that was James Earl Jones. Just from that standpoint, like never going to be replaced. I'm assuming they're going to find somebody who can kind of impersonate him or do something like that, but never going to be replaced. But if that's one thing out of Star Wars you remember Darth Vader's voice, and that whole him entering the room, his music, the whole 9 yards. It was just unforgettable, man. And just so that was a big one for me, man. Losing him, and then we can go through a lot of the roles that he does, but yeah, like a Darth Vader,
forever.
Man. Yeah, forever. And you mentioned you said TV, movies, but on stage he was big.
Yeah.
And a matter of fact,
I said that too.
Yeah, matter of fact, the movie Denzel did. Can't remember it off the top of my head. It was him and what's her name? I can't remember it. Fences. That's the name of the movie.
Oh, yeah,
the movie
Fences.
Fences, when it was a play, James Earl Jones played that lead role. So I just wanted to mention that too. So big stage actor also. But going back to Darth Vader, irreplaceable. This day and age, they got the technology. They're gonna make it happen. But for that actual voice, and we all know, I got an app that I got James Earl Jones talking in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? That voice, iconic, man. It's never gonna go anywhere, man. So
Yeah. He definitely was a pioneer for black actors in the industry. But what I looked up what I looked up as far as his information was initially in 1977, his voice was $7,000 that he got. For doing Darth Vader. And now it's $40 million. I was like, wow, you know what I mean? So the impact on that. So initially they were only paying him $7,000, but now he's worth $40 million plus. So that just tells you a lot as far as the impact that he had on the Star Wars industry. So
it's crazy how like when that movie came out, nobody knew what it would become. That movie came out in 77?
Yeah,
it's 77.
I haven't seen that movie in the theater, man.
It's almost 50 years ago, man. And it's still a franchise.
I'm not 50 yet, excuse me.
Still a franchise.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And still like going strong. So I mean, he is an iconic figure in the Star Wars universe, and he's going to be missed for more than that. Like you said, definitely great and respected thespian, one of the best of all time, James Earl Jones. And I think one of the best things of all time would be if you click the like button. So please click it. Also subscribe to Left-Wing Kingz if you want to see more content like this, and share it on all of your social media platforms. So next, we want to talk about music.
All right.
On September 10th, 2024, we lost a man whose timeless sound and unique voice mesmerized audiences for 47 years, Frankie Beverly. With his band Maze, Beverly created more than just catchy tunes. He created a soundtrack to life. Ace, what impact did Frankie Beverly have on black culture and the music industry?
I was gonna say, and I was thinking when you were saying that, and even when I read the question, can you name one band that says black culture more than Maze and Frankie
Right.
Beverly? Like, I don't care what part of the country you from. You going to somebody's cookout, you gonna hear Frankie Beverly and Maze, regardless. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. And then the timelessness of the music. You know, it's funny. I say I probably discovered Frankie Beverly and Maze truly and started in my college years, like early 90s. You know what I'm saying? I heard it, you know, my mom and them. you know.
Right.
My mom had it on 8-track and all that good stuff. I remember she had the album, which is one of the best live albums ever, Frankie Beverly Maze live in New Orleans. If you ain't got it, get it, download it. But I remember seeing that album because it was him in New Orleans on the cover. My mom had that album, but I didn't listen to it as much as I did when I was in college. My cousin actually turned me on to Maze, and we used to listen to it all the time. But that timeless is now to where we're at now, and the generations that grew up on that music and how it just represents black culture as a whole. And I'm not saying that, you know, other cultures don't enjoy it, but he's ours. You know what I'm saying? Frankie Beverly's is ours. Like, you know, if you somewhere walking around and you hear Maze, you like, where the black people at? You already know that. That's where it is. So, man, that was a big one. And it just took me back when we're talking about Frankie Beverly passing away. And I thought about what his loss is. It took me back to, you know, just things like mom having you clean up on the weekend and the music playing in the background. Or like I said, going to a cookout.
Yeah.
Things of that nature. And it's funny because a lot of live bands this weekend, they actually had something last night where they did a tribute and an all-white
The all-white
party and
thing.
all that.
Yeah.
So and that was happening in multiple places here in San Antonio because I can only imagine across the country how big that was, you know.
Yeah, he definitely epitomizes black joy through music on there. So I was thinking, like you said, cookouts or family reunions, you know, you always hear them, you know, and you don't realize the impact it has until they're no longer here with us. So I also think about like dynamic performances that he's had and his influence with R&B and other musicians. So he's not with us presently, but he will always be with us through songs. So
Yeah.
It's two things you got to have at a black cookout. Frankie Beverly and Maze and hot sauce. Nigga, you ain't got no hot sauce.
You
It's,
stupid.
Okay.
it's a problem, nigga. And it got to be the right hot sauce.
Yeah.
Like Louisiana Red Dot. Don't be,
Okay.
don't be
Okay.
Tabasco and shit like that.
Hey, so for me, man, there's one thing like that I know about Frankie Beverly and Maze is if I go to any black show, concert,
They
whatever,
always play.
the
Yeah.
DJ before the show that's warming shit up, if you don't hear, you make me happy,
Yeah.
you in trouble. Okay, the DJ in trouble if you don't play that, because everybody gonna get up and dance their ass
Yeah.
off when that song come on, and everybody gonna sing, and you can drop the volume and hear everybody in the crowd singing that
Yeah.
shit, and that's like for me. That's the thing that's my one of my biggest memories because you know we have get-together and stuff like that and we don't play Frankie Beverly that much. We do from time to time, but if I go to a show,
Yeah, it's always there.
a damn concert, comedy show, whatever, I'm expecting a DJ to play that motherfucking banger some point in the beginning of the show before the show starts, right? To get everybody all warmed up and amped up and ready to go.
Yeah, there's a reason
So-
Beyonce remade it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that. This is like one of the things that I'm looking forward to. I know I will always get to hear, Frankie Beverly, the rest of my life. He will be a part of it. So
Yeah, it's called
Appreciate that, dude.
cultural resilience, and that's what he has. So
definitely,
good.
exactly. Great statement too. I like that. I ain't never heard that shit before.
I was like,
But
her
I-
Reed Nash. She came up
Yeah.
with new shit, right?
Always coming with it. But here's one other dude that I always heard was Tito Jackson, the Jackson 5. So we're going to keep on the music theme. On September 15th, 2024, we lost a member of one of the most famous music groups of all time, Tito Jackson of the Jackson 5. Tito and his brothers revolutionized the music industry with their infectious sound and dynamic performances. Wanda, as a Gen X dancing queen, what impact did the music of the Jackson 5 have on you during your youth?
definitely evokes memories of joy, pride. You know, They still get rotation in my vehicle. So, and I'm grown now. So, just hearing the influence of future artists and just being still able in your 40s, to enjoy music that you enjoyed when you were a child. That's monumental, because you can't really say that for everything. That's still, like I said, they still are on my playlist on multiple of them. So just the memories. It's always good family vibe, togetherness. You think about that, and again the reunions, and so those are memories you just don't want to forget.
Yeah, and I think everybody, we all felt bad when we lost Michael, but Michael was big on his own. So Tito, losing him, took you back to the Jacksons. You know what I'm saying? You're like, okay, the Jacksons. You know what I'm saying? We grew up, we grew up on the Jackson cartoon. I don't know if you remember that. Like the cartoon was out, like they were big. So when I saw he died and they put his age, it kind of threw me at first. 'Cause I was like, hey, he was that old? But I got to remember, I was the child. He wasn't the child. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And but it just took me back there. But it's funny that you say that because there was a Jackson 5 when they were younger, and I was they were coming out with ABC and all that stuff. I was a baby. You know what I'm saying? Stuff. But we really kind of fell into the Jacksons. You know what I'm saying? The late 70s, early 80s band. You know what I'm saying? And when they dropped the 5 and they were just the Jacksons. And I was thinking about that, and I thought about the music there, a couple of songs. And that's when Mike started kind of coming in his own. He dropped Off the Wall and all that. But thinking back to that time, what's probably one of your favorite songs? I know one of mine.
From what? The Jacksons?
The Jacksons. Enjoy Yourself, man. Like,
oh, I like that one.
Yeah, that's just like the cut, right? You know what I'm saying? So it just took me back to those fond memories, that early 80s music when they came out and they were doing their thing. Then they came out with the Victory Tour they did, like in 83, 84. And then, through the internet, I started seeing a lot of these clips, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, wow.
I think of Soul Train. Do you ever think of Soul Train? I was like, ooh, when I used to wake up in the morning and watch Soul Train. That's what I remember about the Jacksons.
I always was like,
I love the Soul Train.
I was always like, Tito, is that guitar plugged up in Jermaine's guitars? Like, because back then we didn't have that technology, nigga. Like, they just up there dancing with the guitar. They really playing, nigga. They like,
hey, I don't like. My first memory of the Jackson 5 was really like Michael Jackson, like you said, Off the Wall. Like that was the first album that I ever like owned myself, and I was like maybe second, third grade when that came out. But did I know of the Jackson 5 and did I know some of these songs? Yeah, because as a little kid, we danced to them at the reunions and all that shit because the grown folks was playing it. But to your point, when like we were grown, I mean they were grown. And we were kids. Like they were like a generation before us. They really like our moms and dads like music before us. But we were kind of like that, old enough to like as we became teenagers, we understood who they were. We was like, oh, that's an old school jam. You know what I'm saying? The Jackson 5 was old school to us. You know what I'm saying? But they hits, man, hits. And the more like as a teenager, as I've started to listen to more of the old shit. I was like, these motherfuckers was dope, nigga. Like, because you start to hear, like, as hip hop people, we started to hear, like, samples of, like, some of their cuts. And you heard New Edition come out with Candy Girl. You know what I'm saying? New like ABC. You know what I'm saying? So you started to say, oh, that came from that song, nigga. That's dope, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So but they were a little bit before us, but they still touched us directly, direct impact. Not maybe some of their songs, and even like how some of these songs got transitioned into some of our music in the 80s and the 90s. So Tito Jackson definitely missed, man. And we got a Simpson since we going to names that are like we got Johnsons, we got Simpsons now. We got trying to use these names that are what is it? Can't even think of the word I'm thinking of right now. But
slave master names. Come up with.
I was trying to say like common names. I'm saying common last names, but
common black names is really common slave master names. Black names.
There was like whoever was that first Simpson, that slave owner, he had a lot of motherfucking slaves.
Black people trying to claim slave. Hey man, those are the Johnsons, nigga. That's a slave.
That's a slave name, nigga. But anyway, on April 10th, 2024, we lost one of the most controversial entertainers of all time, Orenthal James Simpson, or OJ. So OJ was one of the first athletes to become a pop culture icon, showing up in commercials, TV shows, movies. He was all over the fucking place until the glove didn't fit.
Yeah.
So Ace, how did OJ change the game for crossover entertainers, and what are we seeing today because of the success that he started?
Yes, here's the thing, man. There's a lot of stuff out on OJ on the negativity part.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was in 94, 95 when he had the trial. And it's like that life after that became OJ Simpson, the villain. But they don't, and I think that there's a generation, maybe a couple of generations now that don't know him other than that.
Right.
They don't realize and know why we loved him back in the 70s and the 80s.
He was a hero.
First and foremost, 32 was a bad boy on the field. You know what I'm saying? In football, let's be real. He was probably one of the best running backs that ever played the game. You know what I'm saying? And he's legendary at USC. We already know that. Then the Buffalo Bills, and then the 49ers. So let's say that. But he took that career and he flipped that career through endorsements, through a broadcast career, through a movie career, and then became a household name.
Yep.
It's funny, we talked about it in the meeting. We said what OJ did would be equivalent to what if Shaq just went bad now. Because he was Shaq before Shaq is who he is. Like, Shaq's everywhere. Well, OJ was everywhere. I remember running into commercial Hertz. Then we started running and doing that shit. You know what I'm saying? We followed OJ just like that. So that's his impact, is the fact that before Michael Jordan, before Shaq and all these other people, it was OJ.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And we could probably go back to Willie Mays, but OJ's the one that kind of, I'm just saying, but OJ's the one that did it and took it from outside the sports arena. He did it in broadcasting. He did it in commercials.
Yep.
He did it
broadcasting,
in movies.
everything.
And then and then all of a sudden the trial.
Yep.
Brought him there. But a lot of times, like I said, and it people got their reasons. And first and foremost, you got to understand, he wasn't even found guilty.
Yeah.
Nope.
But society made him a pariah to the point where he did some stupid shit, like try to steal his stuff back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That didn't help out, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But he was found out guilty, but in the trial, the trial of public opinion, he was
Yeah.
still persecuted for that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he had an icon of career that leads to a lot of people that are here. And like I said, the person I would think that we compare him to now would be Shaq. You know what I'm saying? So
Definitely touch on everything. So he broke racial barriers.
Yeah.
We know that he was the crossover king, I guess I want to say, because he went from football to commercials, people trying to follow him. And he actually paved the way for other black artists to do that. Because normally if you're just a football player, you're just a football player. You're just an athlete. But he actually did commercials and videos and TV shows and things of that nature. So he definitely impacted a lot of crossover artists after that. So I just think the success beyond sports spoke a lot, because a lot of them didn't do that. With their athlete, they stayed on that track, and he, like you said, he was everywhere.
Yep.
Everywhere you wanted him to be.
Yep. And the thing about him too, like I think you both touched on this, is he went from like playing sports to endorsements, being a broadcaster, being on TV shows, being on movies, his talent. So the two things. The first thing is there were athletes endorsing stuff before him. Don't get it twisted. Like, he was the first person endorsing shit. He did it in the age when everybody could afford to have a TV in their house. And he did it on TV. Before that, you think about the 50s and the 60s, the TV was a fucking luxury.
Yeah.
Everybody didn't have a TV. You know what I'm saying? By the time the 70s rolled around, everybody could have one. Even if it was a black and white TV, everybody had a fucking TV. And he was the face on your TV.
Right.
Like, and that was when you didn't have to get a certain type of magazine to see OJ.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To see endorsements and athletes in endorsements back in the day, you had to get a magazine that kind of fit. Hunting and Fishing magazine, or maybe you might see
Ebony.
somebody, or Ebony.
Ebony.
You know what I'm saying?
He wasn't only
Or
in Ebony.
Sports
Yes.
Illustrated or whatever. You're not going to see them endorsements in your face. How many people renting cars? I don't know. I don't rent no car like nowadays. You Uber or whatever the fuck you got to do.
Yeah.
But that Hertz commercial, it don't matter what the fuck you watching. If Hertz want to buy space for that commercial, you going to see OJ jumping over fucking luggage in the airport trying to get to his goddamn rental car.
Yeah.
Okay? Everybody saw him.
Yeah.
And that was a time when everybody could have a TV in their house. And that was when athletes, like you said, he started to show like, hey, we got a lot of different ways to get this money. If I can get on enough endorsements or whatever. Yeah, there was endorsements before him, but he really blew that shit up, man. And he was just let's just put it this way. No, he was a attractive black man, and even white women, as you can see,
Yeah, that's his,
Loved
his
him.
downfall right there.
okay, that was his downfall. He was a good-looking brother.
And that first wife didn't have no problem with him. She the
None.
one that had his real children. But
Yeah, but he
got
was
with
a
them white women.
good-looking brother, and
Eesh.
that he's photogenic
Yeah.
and TV-genic, if you want to say that, and so that led to him being very successful, whether it was broadcasting. That's why people took him. Hey, you can act a little bit on that Hertz commercial.
Yeah.
Can you come do a TV
He
show?
was very
Can you
articulate.
come do a
Yeah.
movie?
He did movies.
So you know what I'm saying? He had that it factor, and he was a hero to the black community. And then he became, like you said, a pariah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thing is think about it, he did all this without social media.
Yep.
Like this was just on, the old school way. You know what I'm saying? So imagine if he was out these days. And all those things you hit on. Like I said, he was a good looking brother. He's an articulate brother. He like I said, he
He's
went
charismatic too.
charismatic guy. So probably one of the first multimedia icons that we had that covered a whole aspect of things out of sports and probably built the blueprint on how you can do it, and then led into a Michael Jordan, which led into what we have now, where almost anybody that's good in the sport now covers those facets. I just seen the Olympic girls all over the place now.
Yeah.
They even WNBA people pulling out things. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? And all that kind of leads back from OJ doing it back in the 70s.
Yep, exactly. So, hey, I want to go ahead and thank everybody for coming out, checking out the show this week, man. Everybody online, Facebook, YouTube. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. Peter Milner. We had a whole bunch of, we had Danielle Hamilton on there. She's hanging out with us today. We had, who else? Oxy Media. We got Al Bundy. We got John Dixon Karaoke. We got all kind of people on there. So thank you guys for all coming through and hanging out with us. And we will see you all next week.